is still very strong, but I feel like you kind of want to try to force a reaction from an enemy team by having a Wisp and a Bristle in the early game as well.
I think they put either Wisp Bristle mid or they put it safe lane.
Yeah.
And just make sure they get a good lane. If they put it mid, they pressured the Shadow Fiend a hell of a lot and more or less force the Shaker to be there at all times. And that opens up their off lane. And then they can just run Rubik +1 in the safe lane. And that's assuming the Shaker's a support, by the way, which we don't even know for sure yet. They could easily still play that as a core, in which case they would actually corner themselves quite a bit, disallowing them from running him as the defensive support against the Wisp Bristle. But it's just the beauty of having these two heroes together. Like, you can actually lane them anywhere, and they're always useful. Like, it's extremely powerful. And, we'll see what basically Unknown decide to do. They've got plenty of time to think, as they have banned out the Viper.
I liked the way that Shadow Demon matched up against it earlier today when we saw it.
Yes, he's a good hero.
Yeah, Soul Catcher is fantastic. Even having just a defensive disruption can be really nice. Although NiP don't really have like that all-in stun, you know, where you normally would pick a defensive disruption type hero to prevent like a Beastmaster Roar, for example, or like a big ulti that comes out to prevent it from dealing damage. But I guess it could just be used as a kiting tool as well. And then having Gyrocopter Shadow Fiend with a Soul Catcher on the only frontline hero of NiP right now could be pretty good.
It's not the best support duo with Witch Doctor, though, but it can work under the right circumstances.
They could just go pick Lion as well. Still available.
Yeah, they could think about something along the lines of a Lion, or I wouldn't even mind seeing a Sand King, just going really heavy on the teamfight and trying to jungle a bit. They're going to get a Bane, though, to probably try to deal with the problems they might have in the lanes, so they have a strong lane support early on. Bane has great stats. After the buff to Brain Sap, a lot more sustainable in lane as well. They don't have an obvious setup for the Nightmare, though, which is kind of... Most of the time when we see Bane picked, it's for some sort of combo with Nightmare, whether it be a secondary stun or arrow, or which is also a stun.
I mean, into a cask, it's still not too bad. If it allows you to close the gap on your Gyrocopter, and you manage to find like the offlane hero, assuming NiP aren't going like an aggro tri-lane with a Wisp, a Rubik, and a Bristle, which I think would be a terrible lane, actually, against basically Unknown, because the two supports are like, they're way stronger. Like, so I'm thinking if it ends up being something like a Darkseer, which I think is still okay for NiP right now, because they don't have a real dedicated mech carrier. I mean, Bristleback can buy it, but you don't really want to buy it. You want to go for like Crimson and then have somebody else pick up the mech.
Yeah, if you're playing a position 1 Bristle at least, then mech is a lot less attractive of an item in a lot of cases than if you put him mid. Yeah, Darkseer could be okay. However, like you said, he's just going to get harassed out of lane, and if he tries to use Surge, they can just Nightmare and he dies. So.
Well, everyone does. I'm just thinking about heroes who can simultaneously jungle and offlane, but whoa, okay, it's going to be Storm. Okay. So this is a position 1 Storm.
Yeah, looks like it, and they're going to offlane the Bristle. I guess they just do Wisp Bristle, but just to keep the supports there, Era should have a very easy safe lane against Shaker. Storm versus Shaker is an auto-win lane, more or less. And then Puck versus Shadow Fiend mid, we've seen, it's pretty even until Shadow Fiend, if he just gets to free farm, he can take over. So, pretty interesting that they take this approach to it.
I think it's very
honorable mentions were, I think Brood was still in the pool. Was it?
I actually don't remember. I don't remember all the bans.
Like, if you want to avoid,
I want to say it was.
If you want to avoid the whole problem of just getting Nightmared and run down by Gyro, you can get a hero that doesn't get Nightmared in the first place. So, like, Brood could just play really passively and just hide and leech experience and then become annoying. Same for a hero like Bounty Hunter, just leech and become a problem on other lanes. But yeah, this is a good way of dealing with it too for NiP.
I basically don't have some lockdown, but they don't have a lot, which means that Era will have a very nice mid-late game if he gets off to even a decent start. But I'm kind of thinking this would probably be more of a Bloodstone Rush game than an Orchid game. Like Orchid, I feel, it makes you so squishy that if you do get hit by a random stun, you just pop. But if you get Bloodstone, it kind of means that there's no way that basically a known can ever kill you, and you can just farm non-stop. And I think late game, like having a Storm plus Relocate just gives you monstrous map control, and they showed in the previous match against basically Unknown that they are very good at controlling the game. Once they have it, they don't let it go.
Yeah, it's going to be super scary moving out on the map when Era gets items. I think for that particular reason, I actually think the Orchid is really good because it just sets up so well for Relocate ganks. He gets to be an extra strong threat on the map, and it's a way for him to make sure he can initiate, because else if he goes for the Bloodstone, sure, he's tanky, but then there's a lot more counterplay potential for the Bane, for the Shaker, whereas with an Orchid, he could solo either of them with ease.
Yeah, that is very true.
Both are very possible. I would definitely agree that in the safe lane position, Bloodstone makes a lot more sense because you get it faster, and then you have more chances of stacking it up in a lot of cases. So. Rune's going to be traded. Arise will be getting the one for mid, and
It's an aggro lane.
will get the one for bottom. Because he is, of course, the Wisp, so a little bit of a head start in mid for Arise, but that's quickly going to be negated by Seal Kid, it looks like.
These lanes are fully anticipated as well from NiP. They knew the aggro tri lane was coming out from basically unknown, so they put Limp in that position. They just make sure we have a hero who is very hard to chase down. Arrow will be going mid with Seal Kid on the Rubik, so he'll probably be able to farm with ease in that lane. And then bottom is going to be the Wisp and the Bristleback versus the Shaker. Like, Relax is going to get tower dove, like 100% in this lane, if it goes on too long without them doing anything about it.
They could dive him on level 2 if the Bristle skills Nasal Goo.
Yeah.
I think. Shaker can't do anything about it. Well, unless he gets like a perfect fissure that blocks them off entirely, it forces a rotation. And they will know that rotations are not an option right now for Unknownus. We got a nice telekinesis from Seal Kid, actually putting a lot of damage onto Pure Evil, who's currently rocking the Enfeeble to try to deny Era last hits and give his Shadow Fiend a good start, which is somewhat accomplishing.
Yeah, it's not a bad strategy, but you also have to remember Remnant is not really that high of a mana cost, so he can just walk up to the wave and drop it down. If both heroes are here, though, and he's harassing, it's no big deal. But it looks like the Bane has decided to abandon middle and just go top instead. I'm kind of wondering what he's hoping to accomplish there, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, that isn't really going to help much.
I'm a little bit curious too. Maybe he's just favoring Arise getting that solo experience rather than just sitting there and kind of hoping that Enfeeble will keep Eris CS down. Because I think getting solo EXP, it means that the Storm will be behind for a longer period of time in terms of levels. He needs to be careful though. He's going to get lifted, gets pulled into another Remnant here. And he will be forced back for the time being, but maybe they're just hoping like level 5, level 7 rolls around and you can just pull the typical Shadow Fiend, push out the wave, and you'll never really die.
No, having 7 CS already minute 2 is enough.
Yeah.
He has a damage edge on Era of about 10, which should be enough. Secured as bottom lane, the inevitable is happening. Is the counterplay there, though? Nice fissure. Actually, maybe he can get away with this. Hanskin's trying to heal him up, but they're out of bottle charges now, and there's the TP in from Witch Doctor. Cask is available. Can they reach, though? It looks like that is not going to be the case.
Very nice tether, too.
Oh, and they get regions.
Wow. Okay.
Just what they wanted. Now they can actually play aggressively against both. And Bristle will not die as long as Wisp has taken a bit of damage when they open.
That is actually the Dream Rune.
Yeah, it's probably the best rune for Wisp right now. Double damage isn't half bad either, but...
But the Witch Doctor didn't even stay bottom. I think he just teleported there as like a small deterrent just to say, yeah, if you dive, I will react to it. But this time he doesn't have a TP.
Did NiP, nice cask by the way, did NiP see the Witch Doctor? Well, they obviously see it now.
No,
did he run through their ward down there that he pulled back to mid, or...?
I actually did not see. I want to say that he almost had to, right? Because otherwise he would have had to take a really weird path to not get scouted.
I think so. Well, so far so good for NiP. They are really winning the laning stage as... Alright, Caster's Curse, Limp is...
He's fine.
Totally dead.
Alright, I love the phase shift. You know, the Dream was alive for a second, and then it wasn't. And middle lane, they might be able to get a counter kill here. Arrow walking forward, a couple more auto attacks. Not going to be enough to get the kill on Arise. I think we're going to be seeing probably the standard 4-0-4 Storm if we're going to be like position 1 farming. Because I think pull is okay, but only if you really want to be fighting with it. And I think that would be more of an Orchid build thing than a Bloodstone build thing. And
they have others to lock down. Like a lot of the times when you get Vortex, it's because you have either a really good combo with a teammate or because you flat out lack disables. But they have Coil, Telekinesis, and to an extent, Nasal Goo and Tether is slows. So yeah, probably good enough for Era this game.
Loop around here towards middle lane. Era is not level 6 right now.
Era is not going to survive this unless the Wisp saves him here. Good TP reaction.
Well, he's healing him up a bit. The cast does not bounce to the Wisp, which is a really good thing. Era's still alive for the time being. He needs the third raise. Finally takes him down. That was actually still fairly close to being able to live there, but they do manage to kill Era.
Very nice raises from Arise. It's pretty rare these days that you see 3 raises landing, especially because he used them in a peculiar order. I think he used W, then Z, then X raise.
Yeah.
Or, sorry,
he used mid-range, then close, then far.
He used XC, then... whatever hotkeys you used, middle, close, then far, yeah. It's an old habit, calling them...
Legacy key user.
Well, I'm actually not a legacy key user, but I still call them XC and C raise, because it's just a... I don't know, it's interesting. It's just an old habit going back to Dota 1. Yeah. That's what people used to call them.
That was always so uncomfortable for me, using those keys for raises.
You know what we started? We started the classic Twitch chat dialogue or discussion.
The great boss.
What is better?
Legacy keys
or QWER? Oh, you guys are plebs regardless of what you use.
7K MR doesn't matter. Use non-legacy keys. 1K. Right.
Damn, you incorporated it. You used it.
I did it. I managed to make it happen. I don't know who owes me money, but somebody does.
Sick.
All right, well played by me. Still though, laning phase still not going too bad for NiP, even though they give away 2 kills. The Bristleback's farming very well. The Shaker, he's got a handful of CS, but it's expected that he's not going to be doing well in terms of farm, but he is almost level 6. So Relax is not suffering too badly, given the start that he's had. Although we also have to keep in mind that Jonas and Fan is close to 5, and Hanskin is now level 4, so... We're making a bit of trade-offs here in the early game. I think it's going to be down to when the Storm hits 6 and you get your relocate going with your coil that we'll really start to see NiP actually be able to take some fights.
And as long as they don't lose... Well, actually, they're further behind in gold than I thought they were. There are obviously the 2 kills going Unknown's way, but 1,500 is a little bit more than I thought. So what... Why are they actually that far ahead?
I mean, first blood is what, like 400 or so?
Just looking at the CS, I feel like it looks like NiP are getting way more. There's 40 on the Bristle to the 30 of Gyro. Shadow Fiend and Storm are tied, and Puck is ahead of Shaker. Did they get some jungle camps that were really valuable? No, they haven't farmed them yet even. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's a bit strange actually.
Those kills are really valuable.
I think it's because they actually shared it a little bit is why they got more. Like more heroes were in the vicinity or something like that.
Could be.
Because the first time they rotated, what, 3 heroes when they killed Era? So it was a 3-way split, so the heroes probably get a bit more, and they were low net worth heroes as well. So they probably got more gold from it.
Yeah. Sounds about right. So what's going on right now? Storm is getting level 6 in a moment as Arise mid, already level 7, with a haste rune available, could actually try to go for a play if there's any rotation coming the way of Unknown. Doesn't look like that is the case for now. They're just content with farming. And if there's one guy who's happy with farming for a bit, it's Relax. He wants to get the Blink Dagger. It's their best counter initiation tool against Relocate, probably. Just in general, really great against the NiP lineup, all in all. I think NiP are making a mistake just letting him have a lane for free for a while.
Well, I don't know if they can really do that much outside of just having the Wisp and the Bristleback down there in general. Like
that should be a pretty big detriment, though.
What is their counterplay? Like they need the coil, they need to gank him somehow, or they need the Storm to be able to contribute in some aggressive way too. But
I think the Bristle can just zone him out of the lane, right? He just goes
he has Vanguard now.
Yeah. Just runs at him, and Shaker has to respect it. And they can't really kill him, the Bristle, with a Wisp behind and with 1,200 health in the Vanguard. I don't think it's going to happen. He has ported down there now, though, so I think Relax will resort to just farming with Fissure for a bit. Whatever he can get. And it's a pretty slow early game. All in all, just gold-wise, definitely favoring Unknown for now, but the experience is about 0. And you just got this feeling that come the early part of the mid-game, NiP are going to start making plays. Bottom lane, Arise using the haste. Oh, Wisp is going to tether in. That could be a huge mistake, actually. Hanskin just gets himself killed there with the tether.
He might have just got scared after seeing Arise with the haste and saying, oh man, they might just check the woods and find me anyway, so I should probably try to go for this. But very nice reaction time from Relax, getting that Fissure up to line up the double race.
Yeah, I think they didn't even need the cast there. I'm not sure if he used it. I don't think he did. He has full mana, so they even had that on backup in case they would have needed it. Lag coming in. Yeah, I'm seeing it too. I don't know what's wrong with this server.
It's a bit jittery. I'm not really sure why. And even the Witch Doctor, by the way, holding onto his skill points, not deciding if he wants to go for the Voodoo Restoration or the Maledict. I'm guessing Maledict would be much better against Bristle just to be able to actually kill him. But otherwise, I definitely think that Voodoo Restoration has its merits with this team. Like, they're okay at sieging as long as they have some kind of sustain. And Voodoo Restoration isn't too bad if you don't have like a Dazzler or something like that, or an early mech, which I guess Arise could be building.
Yeah, if Arise gets a mech, I think they actually have a somewhat of a frontliner with him. Being able to go and hit towers, not being too afraid of getting initiated on, unless he gets like full comboed and they have no counterplay available, but he can start hitting towers if Shaker's on backup with a Blink Fissure at that point, and they could definitely make it work. It's looking pretty good for Unknown with that extra kill. I don't know how much gold that's going to give. I think it's not showing just yet. As we're talking about alternatives for server.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to give it the old college try. Just rehost at the next minute mark so we can get everything sorted for the players to make sure they don't have to deal with the lag of this particular server. But I'm wondering, going for the first item blink on relax, like clearly Brown Boots blink, it's one of those things that you see a lot, but it's usually later into the game. If you have this kind of start, is there any merit to getting Arcane Boots, or do you just say, I'll just go to the blink and then get the Arcane Boots after?
I would definitely say when you're playing a core shaker like this, I think the blink first is better, and then maybe you don't get arcanes at all. Like then you could get Force Staff instead, which is really great at creating space to get away from the Bristleback. It's a good way of at saving from the Storm Engage as well, and even from Telekinesis, it can be really nice. So I think that would probably be the approach in a lot of cases. If Arcane Boots are still good for the team, I think it can be worth it after.
I mean, that's the only reason I bring it up, because I think Arcanes are actually quite good.
Yeah, they are.
For their team.
They are.
Because most of these heroes are fairly mana dependent. Even Shadow Fiend needs to raise to farm. And plus, the Arcanes ensure that you'll always be able to spam Fissure for CS, so even in a situation where you might not get the CS with just meleeing down, you can still get some farm out of other ways.
Else you could get a Yules, then he would get a similar
Yules
spam ability, and he gets an active item that's really good against the Storm with a potential Orchid, and
Jonas and
bottom lane, yep.
Taking a lot of damage here. Rocket's going to be landing, but he is so tanky. He was even on Intreads that time.
He only has 2 points in Bristleback right now. Oh, this is going to backfire.
Oh, he dodged the Fissure, actually. Era managing to get 1 kill on there. It's going to be a double coming in from Steel Kid with the Fade Bolt. Now, Arise going for the Requiem. They will be able to take down Jonas and Fan. It's going to be a killing spree for your Shadow Fiend. Buyback from the Witch Doctor. Not going to be able to TP in, though. The Echo Slam comes in from Relax. They're going to be able to get Steel Kid limp. He's going to jaunt to his orb, making his way out of this team fight. There's going to be a call down used, going for the phase shift a little bit late, and he ends up getting taken down. Nico Baby picks himself up a double as well, so in the end, like you were saying, not worth.
I thought it was going to backfire for Unknown, actually. I felt like with NiP, the way the opening they got, you saw them immediately getting 2 kills. They just weren't able to reset and get out entirely, which I thought they would be able to pull off, but yeah, really good play from Unknown, not to get scared off there. I think a lot of teams in that situation just try to retreat. Wow, we lost 2, let's try to get the hell out of there and hide behind our tower, but they managed to fight back and get even a favorable trade out of that, surprisingly.
That's still a very nice start from basically Unknown. They have their mech finished up on the Shadow Fiend too, and the Gyrocopter has his Helm of the Dominator in phase, most likely going to be going for a bit of an earlier BKB, I would imagine. Like, this lineup kind of necessitates it. If you don't have BKB on the front line, you're kind of just going to explode. But still, Steel Kid waiting to get 6. It's not got that spell steal just yet. We haven't really talked about the things that you can take this game. Like, some of the raises are okay. Stealing Death Ward would be nice.
It's very difficult if Witch Doctor is good.
It's difficult to steal, but would be nice if you can get it. Cask is great. Fissure is great. Bane ulti is easy to steal.
Yeah, and that is really impactful when you're playing against a core like Gyro, who tends to come in pretty close in order to attack. There are a few situations where you're just in that perfect position to flag cannon, where you don't even need to commit into the fight to hit every hero, but that's so unlikely that if he steals Fiend Script, I have a feeling that could be a really big play.
For the time being, NiP just looking to try to pressure lanes out a bit. He gets his hands on a level 4 Rocket Barrage. It's a pretty good spell, but you kind of have to put yourself right next to somebody to do it, and as a Rubik, that's not always the play.
It's kind of a kamikaze spell for Rubik in most cases. You just blow someone up and then you get targeted out. But in a lot of situations, that's actually a really good play. Like, if you can trade your life for someone else and force out multiple stuns on yourself, and you have a Storm on your team who suddenly gets to play freely, that could be very, very good. Nice positioning here from Relax.
Yeah,
might be able to cut him off.
Goes
gonna try for it.
The trees are broken. Oh, it didn't actually cut him off all the way. He's going to try to go in and relocate. Nice.
Nice defensive play coming out from Hanskin. And he might even live, too. When he returns,
are they really going to fight this? Steel Kid's in the area.
It's possible.
I mean, they need more if they're going to fight it. Arise, in the meantime, gets a kill on the Era. The Echo Slam's going to be right on the relocate that brings it back. Jonas Fan trying to make his way out of the fight. The Cask is bouncing between. They do manage to kill the Gyrocopter and the Witch Doctor in the process. It's going to be a 3-for-2 trade, actually favoring NiP, as Limp was able to get himself in that team fight. So that did not look like it was going to go well at the start for NiP, but ended up doing so.
Yeah, killing the Storm there was obviously great for Unknown, but it meant they didn't have the mech in the fight. Shadow Fiend was the one killing off the Storm together with
the call down, the Witch Doctor ward was used, and Fiend Script, so it was definitely a 1v1. Maybe he caught like a... I think it was an uphill Requiem.
Yeah,
like he walked
it must have
one.
been. There's pretty much no other way Era gets soloed by a Shadow Fiend on the Storm with 1200 health, so That must have been a really nice play out of Arise, but ultimately it does end up costing a couple of heroes who could have definitely benefited from that mech in that situation.
All things considered, a very close game. I would also say that game 1 was still fairly close, even though NiP eventually started getting these picks and eventually outplayed. But it is a very similar feeling to me as game 1, where it feels like either team could really take it. I think the one big difference, though, for NiP this game is the Storm is kind of like the X-Factor hero. He can have such a gigantic impact with just like 1 or 2 core items, and all of a sudden your team has to play so passive, like even worse than maybe playing against a farm Slark in some cases.
Yeah, the only really good counter they have is Fiend's Grip, and that just becomes almost impossible in the mid-late game to get off against a skilled Storm player. Unless if you have a BKB on Bane, it's more or less not going to happen. So that is very true. The Storm can be a big threat. When was it NiP showed that pick? Was that 4th?
I want to say it was 4th, yeah.
Yeah, it was, because they picked Bristle 3rd.
Yeah.
Or no, it was 5th, actually. Rubik was 4th pick.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So they saw that it was a really good pick in the situation, and so far we haven't seen much out of Era, but he's also going for the Bloodstone build-up, so he doesn't have the most kill potential in the world just now, but he will most likely take off in a few minutes. Oh, just as I say that, he is definitely going to solo kill. Oh, maybe not. Great Fissure! The counterplay's actually there, and Era's manning up for this, realizes he can get the kill. Can he get out, though?
No Echo, unfortunately. And they relocate. They're going to look for Relax. He has his blink up in 1 second. He gets hit by the Spirits, though. It's going to go on cooldown. He's trying to juke around the trees, throws out a Fissure. Blink still on cooldown. Limp in the meantime picks off Nico Baby. This chase continues. Era is out of mana, though. I think Relax will be able to blink away from this one. And bottom lane, once again, Arise finding yet another kill. This time, he takes out the Wisp.
That was a really nicely timed Requiem, I guess. He hit it on the Wisp relocating back, so good timing. As I'm hearing an Echo slam.
Yeah, middle lane. They're even going to drop the Fiend's Grip on Limp as well.
Wow, they found a lot of really key kills there.
They killed pretty much...
Very nice rotations from Unknown across the entirety of the map.
Yeah, both supports and a solo pickoff as well. Solo hero, I should say. And that puck is very far away from his blink.
Oh, wow. Is that for real? No, he has it in base. It's on the.
Oh, he has it in the. Okay, it was on the ground.
No
I was like, how does he have so little money? Because that didn't make sense to me either. I guess I just didn't see it on the ground. So
it's still fairly late for Limp standards, I think.
Well, 16, he was against what was the makings of an aggro tri-lane, right?
That is true. Yeah.
So I would say it's alright.
Yeah. That is true. If you're pressured, getting a blink dagger around 15 on puck is pretty good. So I think he's all right with this. He's going to port mid. Going to show off his blink in case they click him now.
Yeah, it's not too big of a deal, though, I don't think. Like, the puck blink is, I think, for this team, more of a counterplay than anything else. Like, I don't think you actually want to initiate with it.
I think you're in trouble if you're Limp right now.
Yeah,
oh,
one more hit.
It's not enough.
Well, Era's going in. He wants to go for Relax. The Cask is going to bounce the Steel Kid once again. The Ward is just destroying him. Stromadin in the back line could be going down here. Nice Nightmare, though, buying a little bit of time. Era goes in to steal that 1 kill. Arise could be dropping. Goes for the defensive TP. Not going to be enough. Relax throws out a Fissure after the fight is over. Ends up being a 2-for-2. A core and a support for another core and a support. But I would honestly say that because the Storm lived through that engagement, still probably favors NiP. Like this, I think the Storm getting farm is more important. And that was also, I believe, a streak on Arise that they broke there. Yeah, that was an unstoppable.
Yeah, and Storm even got that. So that's his Bloodstone, right? Or
very close. I don't know if it's the entire thing yet.
No, he's missing a little bit, I think. Or
no, it is. Yeah, it is.
He's got it.
Yeah, energy booster is 900 now. That's right. So he does have it.
Here we go. Call down to being used mid. Oh, Rubik. No, he got flat cannon.
I mean, that's not bad.
It's always funny in Rubik.
That's value damage, dude. Come on.
He's gonna use it mid to farm out this wave of like. Got this shit. Might as well use it.
You don't even have to think about what you're CSing anymore. You just throw it out, you know. But I think the Bloodstone pickup is the beginning of something that could be very scary for basically no one going on into the game. You get a couple of extra charges. You maybe get like your Orchid going, or you go back for a Hex, or even like maybe a BKB depending on how the game's going. I don't know if BKB is necessary yet, but it would be a very safe choice, and it would allow him to just farm wherever he wanted, more or less, unless you get Blink Echoed.
I actually think this is the kind of game where you might be able to get a Linken's, just because if Bane needs to cast any of his spells first before Fiend's Grip, you can jump.
Yeah.
And the other abilities they have that break it are Cask that targets Storm, which has a pretty long cast animation, so he might be able to play around it. potentially. Oh, we're getting some bad lag.
It does, no, because it would act the same way as Diffusal Blade, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't act the same way as what's it called? Aphotic Shield is a strong dispel.
Yes.
And Lotus Orb is just a regular
dispel.
Yeah. So what could they dispel with a Lotus Orb? I was thinking about whether one of the supports could get that as a defensive item for Era as well. So maybe he doesn't need to go BKB or Link in this game, but there's nothing that you can really dispel here. Come to think of it, there might actually be literally nothing they can remove. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's not a solution either.
To me, if I was buying Linken's, I would actually be buying it more for Witch Doctor cast than anything else. That spell is like unbelievably annoying. Especially
top lane.
Yeah, they're going to get a Nightmare off. They're going to initiate here as well. They're going to go for a backline here onto Relax. They're going to force the Echo out of him. He's also going to get a nice stun off on the Era. He might be going down here. He gets a zip across the fissure. The tether breaks on the coil and ends up taking him down. In comes Arise with the BKB pop. Gets a Requiem off. They're trying to take down Shaman from the side of NiP. Era might be trading his own life for this. Might have to suicide, or he can fall back behind the tower. Still alive for the time being. Now chasing down Arise is Jonas Infant and Handskin. You could be on the backline dealing some damage to the Wisp as well. They will find the Shadow Fiend. It's a triple kill for Limp. There's only one left standing on the side of basically unknown. This could just end up being a team wipe in favor of NiP. Nico Baby goes down. It's 5 heroes going their way, and they're going to be able to get the tier 1 in the process. Era lives through the engagement. That was a disaster for basically
unknown. And this is what happens in so many games when you have Wisp Bristle and you don't kill either of them early enough. Like, all right, they actually do kill the Wisp. I think they killed him fairly late into the fight, I do believe. He didn't die very early.
The Wisp died one of the last heroes. I think he was the last one to die in NiP before the fight was over.
So the Bristle just gets to build up quill stacks, and he was completely untouched because they have to commit multiple disables to try to bring down the Storm and just control the fight in general. And he just got to build up his Warpath to the max. He got to stack up Quill Spray on multiple heroes, and Unknown can't afford to take extended engagements. They're going to lose every single time, because their BKB on Shadow Fiend runs out, Requiem expires, and they're out of steam. They have to burst key targets very, very quickly.
Where does their burst come from, though? I mean, I guess you have to line up like an Echo on top of somebody, right?
Echo and Requiem, and to an extent, Call Down is pretty decent. And you need a good Death Ward. But it's like a wombo combo, right? It's very unlikely to pull off, but I would say if you kill Wisp plus one core early, you have to fight.
I think
it's
in that
not even a guaranteed team fight win. If you wombo combo the Rubik and the Wisp and kill both, you might still lose the fight, to be honest.
I guess do you go for Blink then on Shadow Fiend for that? Because we've been seeing it a handful of times today, and showing how powerful it can be, especially with a Shaker setup or like a Fiend's Grip or something, for example. Just getting like one good disable out and just being able to throw that Requiem and just ensure the kill immediately, because there's not really much other burst on their team. I mean, for right now, Shadow Fiend is going for the Yasha. So he's either going for SMY or he's going to go back for Manta. Leaning less towards Manta. Oh, Era in the meantime, going on Nico Baby here in the bottom lane. Steel Kid's going to get that steal. Limp comes in with the Orb and the Waning Rift. They get that one kill. Relocate again. Arise going to be slightly caught out here. Coil hits on 2. The Requiem's going to reduce a little bit of damage. Era is out of mana at the moment. He's going to have to retreat from this team fight. Relax. He gets one enchant off onto Jonas and Fan in the back line. Limp, he's going to end up dropping here. Not able to get himself jaunted to that Orb. Relax getting chased down towards the side shop. He will end up trading his own life and ends up being a 2-for-1 exchange. And I believe that Limp had a bit of a streak there. Yeah, that was just a regular killing spree, so 519 gold going the way of basically Unknown for that kill. But they do end up losing their Gyrocopter.
And Storm is getting charges. He's not dying. He's up to 12 now. Already has 1.5 Oblivion Staff, so going to be looking at an Orchid probably within the next 2 or 3 minutes, including most likely an Aegis on him. They can't kill him twice. I just don't see it happening for Unknown. They have to try to prevent this Roche, but I think they're going to be too late. So with this Aegis, NiP will, at the bare minimum, either get a really good team fight or 1 or 2 towers, and it's going to put them in a very commanding position in the game after... Over the last few minutes, they've actually accumulated quite the lead after this game has been super even the whole time. They're now starting to pull almost, I want to say like 7,000 or 8,000 ahead at this point already, with that before the graphs update. And they will also just be farming more, I feel, because the pressure on the map is going to make it difficult for Unknown. They don't have good split push heroes. They can't go out on the lanes. They'll just get relocated on and killed.
Yeah. I think that's one of the, just the inherent strength of the Wisp lineup in general, is when you're ahead, the enemy team just feels like there's a stranglehold on you. You can't go anywhere. Even if your split push is good, you still run the risk of getting killed. With this kind of reach, I think any split push lineup would still feel a bit hesitant about going out on the map, at least alone. So later the game goes, Era's going to continue to become more and more terrifying for the side of basically Unknown. And the Shadow Fiend just, I mean, he's been farming very well, and he's got a handful of kills. He had a lot of solo kills early on, which is very unexpected for a Shadow Fiend in this kind of situation. He might even be going for a Requiem here onto Limp if he's able to find it. Ooh, couldn't get the damage that he was looking for.
Yeah, he mistimed it a little bit. Limp should be able to blink here.
Yeah. So, I mean, Arise has played a good game. I'm just not really feeling the impact of the Shadow Fiend like we normally see. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that he's not able to go on the targets that he wants to. Like, he wants to kill the Storm, and he wants to kill the Puck, and he doesn't want to attack the Bristleback, but he doesn't have any options.
Yeah. I feel like Arise has played a really good game. It's just it's the weakness of their strategy is if they don't get key spells off, and they more or less need a good Echo Slam, it feels like at this point, to win a team fight. And it's just super difficult because both Puck, Storm, and Bristle counter Shaker really well. So it is a tough call for Relax to land a good Echo, but they're going to have to try to extend the fights long enough so that NiP get out of position and then get the Blink Echo. See if they can manage to do it. Fortunately for them...
Oh, Era has no TP right now. This could actually be very good for basically
but this is not the guy they want to open. This kill is like almost impossible.
Oh, he's going to pop the Crimson Guard, gets Nightmared, Rocket's going to be there, Limp comes in, Echo Slam on the Handskin straight away. They will be able to burst down the Wisp after some time. Coil going to be dropped on 2. Jonas and Fan is still in here. He's trying to go onto Arise, but the damage is just not there. Stolen. Requiem coming out from Seal Kid. Era comes in with the Ball Lightning. Doesn't need a TP. Screw that. I'll just use my entire mana bar to get here. Nightmare actually saving Nico Baby at the very last second. Jonas and Fan trying to kill Pure Evil with the help of Era, and they get another person away. How did they only lose 1 hero from that?
That was actually really, really nicely played from Unknown. The entirety of that fight. The cast was really good. The way they opened and immediately blew up the Wisp was really good, and just the way they played around. And then those two really clutch TPs in the end. Both heroes 1 attack away from death, but do manage to get out. Nicely played, getting a 2-for-1, but you still feel like, okay, they got the opening there. Storm was super far away and had to use a lot of his mana pool to even get in there. And they still don't get more than 2 kills at the trade of their biggest and most farmed hero. I feel like they're not satisfied with it. I don't even think they gained gold from that, even though they played a great fight.
It's a little bit of a bummer, not being able to say that, hey, we won after we barely escaped losing 2 heroes and still end up taking 1 more away from the enemy team. But I guess it's just kind of the state of the game right now, if you're basically Unknown. I'm thinking, like, are there any items that where you pick up and you say, all of a sudden we can try to do something out? Shaman and getting caught out by the freshly purchased Orchid of Era now, adding 1 more to his Bloodstone charges here, sitting at 14. But I'm not sure if there's ever a point in the game where I look at basically Unknown's lineup and I say, this item lets them just win a team fight on any of the heroes.
No, not really. Well, maybe a Hex on Shadow Fiend would work. Or...
For the Storm, you mean?
Yeah, or a Silver Edge against the Bristle. They need to counterbuild those 2 heroes, and they don't have a solution to either of them right now, so I would agree. Even a Hex on the Shadow Fiend is a long shot against the Storm because he kind of wants to deal damage, but it doesn't matter how much damage you have in your Shadow Fiend if you can't hit the target, so...
Yeah, it's very true.
It's a tricky situation.
Let's see with the Roshan timer, so it's still quite a while away where that's going to respawn. Era's got some time here. He kills the tier 2 bottom lane in the meantime.
So what did they get out of the Aegis? I was talking about that earlier. He got 1 tier 2.
They got like 1 kill.
That's actually not that bad for basically Unknown. I thought they were going to lose more.
Yeah.
On giving that Rosh away.
They are potentially going for... no, they cannot go on Jonas and Fan. We saw what happened last time they did that. Almost ended up being a catastrophe for them, but they are still moving almost everyone in the area. Hanskin is actually sitting in the tree line. He will eventually tether out. Arise is going to go ahead and spot him, but not really anything going to happen from it. Both teams going to just go their separate ways. It's a very tense situation, though, for basically Unknown, because if they make like 1 or 2 bad mistakes, I feel like that's almost like game. Just because how can you kill Storm? How can you kill the Bristleback? They need so many items. Like, Arise needs 2 more items. The Gyrocopter needs 2 or 3 more items just to be able to stand up to the tankiness and the damage output that NiP have right now.
Yeah, they're getting out-farmed by the minute. I think if NiP just keep controlling the map, we could see a very similar story to last game where they might at some point... They don't have a gem right now, do they? No. But they could be picking up a gem soon, maybe together with their next Aegis, and just start counter-warding the map and just cornering Unknown. And even though it's a totally different lineup from NiP, it's going to accomplish the same thing, which is they'll just corner the enemy in their base and just starve them until they feel comfortable pushing.
And this is what NiP are best at.
Yep.
We saw that last game. They're very, very good at holding on to their advantage once they have it. They're going to smoke up with 3. Try to find something here. They do have an aggressive ward in basically Unknown's jungle at this point, and I think that going for a Rise, or even Shtomanen, like just getting a kill is a kill. Oh, Limp, Seal Kid, both having Blink Daggers right now. Arise looks like he's trying to wiggle his way around. He did not see the orb, by the way. So this is going to be really bad. They spot him out right away. Insane BKB reaction timing, though. The relocate comes in. Arise going for the TP. Should be all right. Gets kind of close to dying, but didn't even pop his mech before that TP, so.
It is a BKB charge, though. He is starting to run low on it, so even though NiP don't get the kill, it's still somewhat decent, getting him down to 6 on that, because...
They saw Shtomanen there, correct? Like, they had to have. Oh, Coil going to be dropped here, top lane. Going to hit on Just Relax. Cooldown's going to be used. He's just trying to buy time for the rest of his team to get there. The Coil is going to be broken by Relax, and now Limp with a very nicely timed blink dodging that fissure. That is heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was really, really close in the fissure. If that lands, he might still live, actually. He could just Yules and then phase and then blink, maybe. But yeah, at least they had a chance at getting a kill there. Is Era using his regen? He's going to find another nice rune. Actually, he didn't. Did he just not see that? Or is he letting Wisp get it? I think he should really not let Wisp get that rune.
Yeah, it's a DD,
All right. I thought they were definitely going to give that to their Storm. But he does have a lot of base damage. If you look at the Storm, he has a lot of intelligence, so yeah, it's another 150 damage, which is crazy on such a mobile hero to get.
He's going the standard build too, which is just like Bloodstone, Hex, Orchid, or Orchid into Hex, excuse me. So you get a lot of in from that build in general. And he might even go for like Shiva's after the fact, just for a little bit of armor.
It could technically still be the Lincoln if he does want it, but I would agree Hex is the better choice. It also gives them it solves the problem with jumping on the Shadow Fiend and him just BKB TPing, then just jump him with Hex and blow him up.
Yeah. I think they were playing it a bit greedy though when they went on bottom, because I think even just killing the support is enough. Like, you don't have to kill the more valuable hero. Just forcing them back and killing a hero that you know you can take out easily is probably the better way to go about it, just because it guarantees that you're going to get something for your smoke, instead of trying to go for a hero that if he BKBs you just can't kill him at all. But I suppose that's a little bit in the past, and it's not like NiP are suffering too much for it. They still have very, very good map control. The rest of basically Unknown outside of Arise are just kind of huddling around in their woods at the moment.
I feel like Arise is the only hero on the Radiant getting farmed. Like, Jarrow's rocking 204 CS, which is not that bad for 31 minutes, but his items just don't hurt. He's got Sanjin Yasha, Helm of the Dominator, and BKB, so like a little bit of everything, but not that big damage item you're looking for to be able to contest a Bristleback in the fight or kill the Wisp with Flak Cannon on a distance. It's not enough until you... Like, Bristle will just run at the Gyro every fight and just force him out. He won't care. Especially not with this Cuirass that he's almost completed now on Jonas, together with 2200 health. Like, he is a nightmare for Unknown to bring down. They've only managed once this game, and I've got a feeling they won't manage again.
I think after he goes AC, we could be even seeing something like Basher, for example. It's very
they could
common.
get an aggressive item. I think that's enough tankiness.
You just walk at the Shadow Fiend and the Gyro, and they just can't do anything. It actually becomes so unbelievably annoying to play against that hero once he has that level of farm. But as time goes on, you were talking about it earlier, NiP just continually farming out more on the map.
That's a good item.
Yeah, the Witch Doctor with Meganim's, it's not bad. I think it might give them a small ray of hope. Like, if they get a good cast into a stun from the Shaker, they could potentially kill.
He still needs to get a super good angle, because Orchid or Yules from Puck, or Silence from Puck, or Lift from Rubik with Blink Dagger, they have a lot of ways of dealing with this Death Ward, and if just one of them is available, it's going to be the top priority for NiP. Unless they don't see that the Death Ward is actually an Ags upgraded one before the fight breaks out, they might prioritize differently. Very nice Echo out of Relax. That was very quick.
No Death Ward needed.
No.
Just get that Echo out straight away.
Not. We're talking about it. They're going to need a good Echo at some point. There we go. Delivering.
Yeah, swing. They're going to push in. Limp does have buyback, important to keep in mind. I don't think he'll buy back for a tier 2, but I think the Roshan spawning could
Jonas needs to be careful. He might be tanky. Oh, there's the buyback from Puck.
No, they defensively relocate Jonas and Fant back. Limp's going to teleport in. He's looking for a coil here. Goes for a silence, actually, onto the Shadow Fiend, who just BKBs it off Pure Evil. That means it's getting picked off on the sideline. That's Gem on deck. No Fiend's Grip to be had. The rest of basically Unknown, they want to get the heck out of here. Era's still got a decent mana pool left. They're looking for somebody. They will be able to throw a Yules out on the Gyrocopter. He probably just BKBs and TPs out, and it looks like that is going to be his choice. So the buyback, I think that was solely for trying to secure Roshan, but I think it was a safe buyback. Like, just, if they get Roshan, the buyback is fine.
Yeah, so what did they get out of that? They killed Bane, they got a BKB charge out of Gyro.
They got a gem, too.
And...
Oh, no, wait, they didn't pick it up. They didn't see it.
I think it was that is that Bane's gem, or is it their own that they lost? No, it has to...
It has to be Bane's, I think. Because there haven't really been too many kills one way or the other.
Well, they just lost 2 heroes right before that fight.
Oh, maybe it was. We'll know if they managed to find it, but it's still sitting there, so maybe they just don't know.
They get Roche, though, as you mentioned, and Era has his Hex. He will be taking the Aegis. And he is getting out of control, actually. Killing the Storm twice is going to be such a ridiculous challenge. And you still have the Bristle back. So even if you manage, how do you deal with both of these heroes in the same fight? It's almost impossible to imagine. They've got to kill the supports off super quickly so they can't help, and then they have to try to run them down. As well, they get the first part of the job done. There's a deny from Limp, but they do kill the Rubik.
Era comes in. He's going to get Defensive Nightmare actually going out on Ishtaman, and doesn't really save him, though. Teleport out, coming in from Arise. Should be able to make it out here. Nico Baby, not sure if he's going to be so lucky. Oh, he does end up dropping there. The Aegis gets popped in the meantime. So Era trading that for 2 kills. They almost got Arise, but not quite.
The Gyro died in base.
Wait, he suicided.
Huh? What's that?
Era suicided with the Bloodstone.
Wow.
I was thinking to myself, how did he get so low? Because I saw him die, and I'm like, that actually doesn't make any sense, because he shouldn't have been low at all.
Use his Hex?
He probably did. That's my guess.
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But, okay, so how did Gyro die to Storm in his own base? Because I thought he would die to the breaking of Coil.
He got hit by a Remnant, I think, as the teleport went off or something.
Okay, so both Coil and the Remnant, or an attack like
that. Oh.
Hit him at the same time.
Era. Oh, did he see the Courier? Oh, he did. Snipes it straight away. Nothing on the Courier, though. He wants to go for a Rise now. BKB is up. That's a Butterfly on the Shadow Fiend. Just realizing now that he cannot win a right-click war against that Magic community. Will be forced back.
So Rise's BKB is down to 5, so... makes NiP's lineup a hell of a lot stronger, that they just need to force out the BKB from Arise and just kite him for a few seconds, which their lineup is super good at. All of their heroes, apart from... well, arguably the supports are a little bit limited, but they have Glimmer, Cape, and Blink respectively, so all 5 heroes can actually just kite. And then the only thing it takes to force out that BKB, I think, is just Storm jumping on him. He's more or less going to have to use it, although now that Hex doesn't remove evasion, it's possible that Arise can hold on to his BKB when Storm jumps in and let him get hexed and maybe survive and turn around.
He's still kind of lacking in the health department, though.
Yeah.
I think even just eating a handful of Remnants and eating the ball lightning damage could force him to BKB in it itself. And then you still have like Coil and such, so we'll see how he plays around it. By the way, I think they recovered their own gem. Did they? Oh, never mind. Okay, so the Puck has the gem. That's the gem that NiP purchased. So
yeah,
I think you were right. I think they ended up getting the gem somehow and then losing it.
Yeah. Limp would have bought it, and then they lost it to the 2-man Echo Slam in the bottom, and then they got it back from the bay.
Yeah.
That's got to be what happened. All right. Well, NiP still, even with that little bit of a misplay with the Bloodstone Suicide, got a really good grip on the map. Looking to try on a Rise here. They know this is a bait. They're just going to see how much information they can gather, as Bristle will definitely not die. going in like this. And did you mention his Demon Edge?
Yeah, he's going MKB for a Rise, but I didn't bring it up because he just bought it, basically. Oh, Era going in pretty hard here. Maybe looking to force out a BKB. The Fissure's going to be there to defend a Rise, and now he's going to get up. Not popping the BKB just yet. There we go. Finally does. Gets the mech in the process. Jonas and Fan in the meantime takes out Pure Evil. And both heroes on the side of Unknown with their BKBs. Pop Showman throwing out a defensive Death Ward, trying to get them out of the way. Era running a little bit low on mana. Another nice defensive Fissure. Relax with the Echo, but he immediately gets used up in the Era. Era is actually going to go down. Arise throws out the Requiem. Jonas and Fan going to have to walk around that Fissure. They're still thinking about base diving this. I don't know if that's the right play, though. I think that NiP are going to have to back off. There still is a tier 2 for crying out loud.
Oh, nice Fissure. Once again there from Relax. Going to stop the TP.
That was such a weird fight. Like, Era goes in. I think he wanted to force the BKB from Arise, or at least try to get some kind of follow-up, but his team was not ready for that at all.
Yeah, a little bit over-aggressive there from NiP, but it doesn't cost them that much. They're still way ahead, and maybe looking to make a game-deciding play here. If they manage to get away with this, there's no BKB available on Gyro just yet, so he's a very easy target to just jump on and blow up, and this is exactly what Era's going to do. Stolen Echo Slam, even.
Defensive Nightmare, though, it keeps Nico Baby alive for the time being. Relax gets a kill and a Fiend's Grip onto Era. Basically, Unknown turning this one around. He will be able to ball his way out of here. Era turning around, gets the kill after Orc getting up onto Nico Baby. It ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. That was dangerously close to being some 322.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of gold going the way of the Radiant. They do still end up losing about 1,300 there for the 2-for-1 exchange. Losing the Gyro as a core, of course, as well as the Bane. But NiP are not getting any, like, major teamfight wins, it seems. Even with the advantage they have and the Aegis they've had and all of that, they're still struggling to be able to get a decisive win in a fight where they get, like, 3 or 4 for 1 or 4 for 0 or something, and then they can start taking a tower. Doesn't seem like it's happening. Unknown are holding on pretty well.
I think it's one of those games where the right-click damage coming out from Era, like, you don't typically see things like MKB on Storm very often, unless he absolutely needs it for evasion. But it's at a point where Rise, with the Butterfly, it makes it very difficult for him to be solo killed by the Storm because he has no way of breaking evasion. And then Gyrocopter just has a lot of armor and a BKB. So he doesn't really have the same influence against the cores as he did some time ago. It's going to be a little while longer. He'll actually need to finish up like his Shivas or maybe even get like a damage item right-click wise to be able to have that kind of impact again. But also have to keep in mind, Jonas and Fan now has his own MKB. So if he wants to go on those BKB heroes and chunk them down, he can do that himself now.
I actually think that's the approach NiP should take. Era is like an assassin that just jumps the backline and kills the easy supports, and then you just have Jonas run in and shut down the cores, because neither of them wins a one-on-one against him. Maybe they can't even 2-on-1 him. I'm actually not sure if Gyro and Shadowfiend kill him off in a flat 1-on-2, especially not when he has the Wisp on backup. Then it's not really 1-on-2. But anyway, Storm can very easily kill the Witch Doctor. He can easily kill the Bane. If he has True Sight against the Glimmer Cape, at least, that should be no problem. And once again, the counterplay from Unknown against the Storm is almost non-existent if he jumps the Bane. They only have Fissure and maybe an Echo, but they need to time that super well for it to be effective enough.
Well, they were pretty good about it in the last couple of engagements. I'd say the Fissures from Relax and his Echo in general kind of kept them in fighting shape when they were fighting around middle lane, both fights, actually, in the last couple of minutes. So definitely shout out to him, playing a fantastic game on the Shaker. But I guess we're going to potentially be seeing another Roshan fight this game. About a minute left until we see how long the spawn's going to be.
I think
there is a smoke here.
With their ward up here on the high ground. It might have been just outside of the area. It must have been, because else they would have definitely done something else in this. Oh, man! Are they actually just going to live from that? Really nice blink reaction from Seal Kid just before the Fissure lands, and Unknown are going to feel like they had a kill stolen from them just then. Even though Witch Doctor kill would not have been that great anyway.
I don't know if the smoke timing was even that good, though. Like, maybe they were assuming a short Roshan spawn or something like that. Because the timing, normally when you smoke out at this stage, if you're just trying to make a teamfight happen, you kind of want to do it around the Roshan spawning. So you can actually get something really big instead of just a pick. Oh, blink forward here, or excuse me, ball forward here from Era in the bottom lane. They're going to find a Shaker. There is a buyback, but you do not want to have to buy back right now if you're Earthshaker.
Era now rocking 15 Bloodstone charges after that kill, and they're just racking up more and more. Now 15k the lead in gold and experience almost 20. It's a long Roshan respawn though, so they're probably going to have to wait a little bit on that.
Alright. I don't know what's going on anymore, sorry. Cinderin was messing with my laptop.
No, I was fixing it.
Baby rage. No, I just do it in a different way.
Okay.
This takes a little bit longer.
Sorry for helping, Draskell.
Dude,
won't do it again.
Good, dude. No, I'll take your help anytime, dude. Anytime.
So you call helping messing around?
Well.
Alright. I understand.
Just a turn of phrase, man. Gosh. So, looking at Roshan, do we think that if NiP gets it, this is cheese, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's cheese, then I kind of find it really hard to believe that basically Unknown would be able to defend their base without buybacks. Like, if they get pushed in like that, they will almost need to buy back to stop the Storm with having another Aegis and a cheese potentially on that Bristle.
Oh, this is a jump from Arrow that might have been waiting for.
Yeah, they're going to be able to catch up. Pure Evil, not going to be able to get any ult off whatsoever. Requiem in the meantime, this is more of a retreat mechanism than anything else. Not going to be able to Hextram him, not going to be able to teleport away. Nico Baby pops his own BKB, just a retreat. And Ninjas and Pyjamas looking to siege high ground here. No buyback on either of these supports right now. They are sieging this tier 3. Glyph is available, but I mean, if you use this Glyph now and you lose one more fight, you could potentially just get double racks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's scary, and it's not like Era's mana regeneration is low. He's got 63 mana regen. Force that forward here. Looks like they were trying to find an enchant totem onto Jonas and Fan. Not going to be able to find it, unfortunately. Tether back up.
They can't touch him, it seems.
I mean, they're doing a little bit of damage to him, but it's just not enough.
Imagine if they had a Solar Crest and an IP.
Yeah, that would actually be insane.
How impossible he would be to deal with.
Honestly,
the Whisper Rubik got that.
I wouldn't put it past Hanskin to buy it next, because he's already got Vlad's too. So I think right now, NiP are more interested in being able to go back for Roshan after getting the melee racks, and that is some really good discipline, honestly, from NiP. Like, not just going for more, because it's really easy to be in that position and just say, oh man, if we just get one more good pick, we win. You know, it's just like, we can steal the game just off that, but instead they go for the safer play, which is back off, wait for the Roshan to respawn.
And they gotta know Unknown will be coming for them.
Yeah.
And then that is probably going to be the game-deciding fight instead, where they have probably superior vision and better possibilities for Storm to jump like he wants, so why not?
Oh my god, this Aghanims from Limp, most of the time Aghanims on Puck I still think it's fairly good. In this game I think it's really good. Yes. Because you will no longer be able to walk out of the coil like you were doing. You will almost, like certainly have to BKB and immediately TP, and if you don't, you're dead.
And if you look at how the fights go when he coils them, they try to sometimes run away with their BKBs to just get away from the bristleback, and if it snaps, he's just going to lay into them for 4 seconds and kill them off.
Yeah, well,
it's a very good item.
That is terrifying if you're basically Unknown. And of course, I think they saw, right? He was farming bottom, so if they were clicking on him, they would definitely know. Roshan's up now, and basically Unknown are just in their base. Their lanes are pushed in.
Basically Unknown got a big item.
Did they?
Yep. There we go.
Oh, that's a big item. That's a big item.
Yep. Deals a lot of damage.
Decent amount of damage.
And there's no Ghost Sifters on the Dire, actually, so their supports could just be caught off guard by this and be blown up.
I think the Rubik actually just gets 2 or 3 shot.
I think it's the best pickup, too. There's no better item to get in this game for their team. It's their best shot at winning, because they're really far behind.
Yep.
And for its cost, it has so much damage output that it could just work.
Well, we'll see if it works out for them. Wow, Butterfly and Bristleback. I'm not really sure how many games I've been in where I've actually seen an item, but it makes sense if you think about it. Because he sees the Shadow Fiend is going for crit at this point, and the Gyrocopter doesn't have MKB, so the obvious choice is evasion,
It's
right?
really good.
It increases your effective HP by a huge margin, and I think buying Halberd when you have this much money is just like, it's not an effective inventory slot. Like, I suppose you could disassemble, but then you just have a Yasha lying around, and that's not really that good.
And it also allows him an additional means of mobility. If the Wisp dies, he can flutter. If that becomes relevant in a situation, it will take him to max movement speed for sure, with just, even with 0 stacks of Warpath, I think. Or maybe he needs 1 or 2, but
yeah.
Can run down heroes if he feels like he can sacrifice the evasion or just get the hell out of there. It's an item, when it comes to strength heroes, I feel like the only strength hero we regularly see getting Butterfly is actually Tiny.
Yeah. But I think it's because of the way that Craggy interacts with evasion is why you see it so often on him.
But that was changed now, though.
Was it?
Craggy and, you know, reactive armor from Timber and stuff like that only procs when the attack lands, not when it starts, right? Or maybe Craggy is still the same.
Gets picked off. No, I think Craggy's still at the start.
I know for a fact it was changed for both return and for reactive armor. 100% of those two.
I'm pretty sure Craggy still works at the start.
Okay.
Oh, Call down here just to clear out some creep waves. Witch Doctor, no buyback, 40 seconds. And NiP currently positioning in all 3 lanes. Era is able to secure the tier 3 tower with no contention at all. Still has the Aegis to his name, even if he does. And the Rapier has been revealed, by the way. Like, there's no way they don't know at this point. And shout out to the 5th ever Butterfly pickup on Bristle.
Era is the only person to have bought Butterfly and Bristle and lose with it. Nice extra
so
stat.
it has an 80% win rate then on Bristleback.
Yep.
That's what we're saying.
Most likely soon to be a little higher.
Yep.
As the game is probably reaching its conclusion. The only way I see Unknown winning a fight is if Gyro is not dealt with and to use a full flak cannon, laying into multiple NiP heroes, but they're very methodical about their push. They're letting Jonas do it on his own while Era split pushing top.
God, this is so frustrating.
They don't have the tools for this. They actually really can't deal with it, because even if they manage to kill Era, it's at the cost of the bottom racks, and he has Aegis anyway.
I think you need to
for the first kill.
I think you need to just all in a lane and hope for the best. Like, probably don't go on Era. Probably go bottom instead, even though the Bristle's down there, just because you have to start a fight somewhere, or you're just going to get, like, whittled down. This is a very difficult situation to be in if you're basically Unknown.
What's remaining? 1 melee top, 1 ranged mid, and both racks bottom. And Jonas is going to go in again.
Look at how much damage he does. He hits for 400. Alright, well, they're going to go on Era in top lane. Defensive Nightmare is going to come out on a Shamanin. But because 3 heroes are down here, they're just going to lose their melee racks. Arise, he's going to go for the Requiem. He has the BKB pop, but Jonas and Fan is just going to town on him. The Wisp's not even tethered to him at this point. It's going to be a monster kill streak coming out for your Bristleback.
This could be the
beginning of the end. There's just not enough damage in the tank. Even with the Rapier, the Echo comes out. Rapier on deck. Rapier on deck. NiP looking to finish out the series with a 2-0 over basically Unknown.
Well played by them. The games NiP play definitely, like, I feel like they last a little bit longer than they have to, but they want to play it safe and make sure they don't make mistakes. And I think that's a very good mentality to have going forward in the tournament. The only thing you've got to be a little bit careful with is my question is if they analyze it correctly every time. Like, if they play another team and they actually have an opportunity